new Premier League season, new Manchester United, and a new West Ham United as well. That's our live game today. Well, welcome to Old Trafford for the start of a new Premier League season. I'm the Civic Heroes of YouTube, Twitch TV and Mixer.com to host for the season today. Well, Manchester United in the story through the pre-season for almost every single day. There was always breaking news about them. It all started 2 days after the Europa League final when Jose Mourinho, for reasons unknown, shocked everyone involved with Manchester United by stepping down as the manager of the team. He didn't really state any reasons. The club were very vague on it as well. We may never know. But life went on for Manchester United, and it was all new from there. The search took a while, but eventually Manchester United, as on the day that the new manager Gregg Popovich was signed, or head coach as he is now, Manchester United played down all expectations. We are in rebuild, is the mantra from the board this season. Gregg Popovich came in as the new head coach. He himself stepped down from his position as the San Antonio Spurs head coach, the NBA organization, of course, after being swept by the Golden State Warriors, the eventual NBA champions. He felt he'd reached the ceiling with them, but how will he deal in this brand new culture is the question. His first team of the season, David De Gea, is in goal. It's a defensive three with Jones, Bailly, and Axel Tuanzebe, Jesse Lingard, Daley Blind, Paul Pogba, Ander Herrera, and Wilfried Zaha are in the midfield today. Half the hour is with Lukaku up top. Two of many new signings starting today. Marcus Rashford only makes the bench. David Moyes is in charge at West Ham now. He has a new team as well. Joe Hart, new signings in goal with Zabaleta, Fonte, Reed and Creswell. Obiang and Coyote are joined in the midfield by Antonio Lanzini and new man Mario Arnautovic. There's another new signing for them as well starting today. It's a former David Moyes man, Javier Hernandez. Well, stories and more stories before we'd even kicked the ball. Gregg Popovich then went on to sign Victor Lindelof for Benfica and then Romelu Lukaku from Everton, and those two were already penciled in by Jose Mourinho before he left, which is another reason why his eventual leaving was so surprising and unusual. And then Gregg Popovich went on a search of new signings himself. The most surprising, Wilfried Zaha, who for the third time is back at Old Trafford. It's a wonderful pass for Jesse Lingard as Martial takes another shot. Manchester United straight out of the box. But Wilfried Zaha was the most surprising. This is his third attempt at a Manchester United career after he approached Gregg Popovich and the team. He obviously heard of Gregg Popovich's willingness to develop and keep hold of young players and give them chances. And Wilfried Zaha felt it was the perfect opportunity to really try and take off with Manchester United. And that won't be the end. The youth people are all over the country and the world at the moment involving Manchester United and bringing them some new signings, and over the next week Gregg Popovich's squad for now will be complete, he says. So it's going to be very interesting to see who he brings in. But the board and Gregg himself, well, Gregg actually wants to win everything. The board are actually playing down those expectations a little bit. You wouldn't really think that of Manchester United, but you know, 26 years under Sir Alex Ferguson with continued success will do that to you, but eventually you do have to plan for after that. And I think it's been fair to say that most of what Manchester United have done just hasn't worked out. First, David Moyes sacked after 10 months. His situation was a little different. He inherited pretty much the squad. I know it's a horrible word, but he did inherit the squad that won the Premier League title just the season before, and a lot of expectations were placed on him to finish in the top four. David De Gea with a nice early save, although I don't know how much he really knew about it. But the top four was the aim for David Moyes, and he finished 7th. It was kind of a shambles, really, unfortunately for David Moyes. In my opinion, I think he should have been kept on for at least a year longer, but out of the door he was, replaced by Louis van Gaal, and he had 2 seasons, but he already had a couple of problems with the signing of Angel Di Maria for one. That turned into a a mitigated disaster. David De Gea knew almost nothing about that. It's a good save considering the conditions today. It is kind of wet. But the Angel Di Maria situation blew up. He left. And Hart was left to pick up pieces that he ultimately didn't do. He picked up some signings, but it didn't work out for him. I mean, yes, he won the FA Cup, which no one really expected him to do, but he did. But he was sacked, I think, just moments or a day or so later. And in came Jose Mourinho. And obviously, there were a few even rumblings with Jose Mourinho and some problems that United fans may have had problems with. The treatment of Bastian Schweinsteiger was one of the really angry things that United fans felt with him. They were very angry about that. Memphis Depay was also an issue. He was a Louis van Gaal player that wasn't really utilised by Louis van Gaal in the first place, and then Jose didn't utilise him that much either. So on he went, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride to say the least for Manchester United so far. It's a great turn by Mark Leao. He's going to play it into Pogba, and I think it was Aubameyang who got it away. And obviously Manchester United still had to deal with a couple of sellings. Wayne Rooney obviously moved on in the pre-season. I think Gregg was always going to expect that because Wayne Rooney's time at Manchester United was up long before he came into the door. So Gregg let that go, and they lost their captain, which moved Gregg Popovich into action to sign new captains. Michael Carrick was assigned as the main captain, but I think he only makes the bench today. Aaron Henwood is a vice captain, but he will be out for a month. He has picked up a toe injury most recently. Ingrowing toenail could be the possible diagnostics, but it is a strange injury that he's got. And he'll obviously be missing one game later on in that injury spell due to his unofficial sister-in-law's wedding, so he'll be attending that for family matters. So that's going to keep him out for about a month and a week. And on the injury front, oh my goodness, there's a bad pass by David De Gea. He's had to save that shot from Hernandez. And more on the injury front, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Marcus Rojo obviously picking up ligament damage respectively in the Europa League matches they took part in. And they will be out for a number of months, probably earliest return being in 2018. So that's two of Manchester United's main assets gone, and I think that's what's pulled Gregg Popovich into the many signings he's made so far. Manchester United's weakness is in the wide positions, and that's another reason why Gregg brought Wilfried Zaha on board. And he's hoping that will help them. But the wide positions seem to be what Gregg is focusing on, and it does make sense. He wants it's going to be youth and the pace that the youth has. So Manchester United are kind of going back to the days of rebuilding under the class of '92 or the Bubsy Babes, as it were. You know, that kind of era, which is something Manchester United probably should have done after Ferguson left. But obviously the expectations were lofty. But even the board have played those expectations down now. It's probably not what the fans want to hear, but it has to happen. And Gregg can hope for the best start possible. And almost Jesse Lingard almost getting through there. I think the oldest player in the squad today, I think maybe Ander Herrera at 27, I believe. The oldest player in the squad overall is now Michael Carrick at 36. And then Marouane Fellaini at 29. And then Aaron Henwood at 28. So youth is a big thing now at United, just like it was many years ago. Gregg Popovich is buying into the United culture immediately, and everyone but him is playing down opportunities and chances here. It's quite unusual. He wants to win, but the board are telling fans not to expect too much. If they finish outside the top four, so be it. This is going to be an era of stability. They need it. Manchester United have gone through many changes since Ferguson left, and now they're starting to settle down. Like we said, they've had a lot of big-name manager appointments and big signings that didn't work out. And Romelu Lukaku is where it's going to stop after 90 million was spent on him. There's been one positive spark, and that was Paul Pogba. He came under a lot of criticism at the start, but really played into his own after that. But the pitch hasn't been very kind to us today. It's wet on a summer's day in the middle of August. So the next week you will expect Manchester United to still be in the news for signing reasons. But it has been a pre-season where it seemed every day something was happening involving Manchester United. And now all the talking starts on the pitch, so to speak. Also finds an Artemich. And West Ham, well, let's not forget about them. They've had their own pre-season to deal with. They've signed Mario and Artemich. They've signed Javier Hernandez from Manchester United man. And here he is. A shot that bounces off Eric Bailly out for a corner. And then in came David Moyes, former Manchester United manager, of course. And he was brought in after Simon Village had stepped down. And I think that was probably Manchester United's kind of main reason for the Gregg Popovich appointment. All these managers that could, you'd think, take over, they've all been kind of not worked. So Manchester United went with the new one instead, a brand new one in Popovich's case, and it's the head coach position now. Manchester United have not needed a head coach since, well, ever. And it seems to be the main thing in the Premier League. There's more head coaches than managers in most cases. David De Gea has a clash with Danzini, and then Manchester United are going for the head coach, which will put the pressure off Gregg Popovich a little bit. Obviously, Gregg Popovich, this is a brand new culture for him. You mustn't forget that. And there's rumours, really. The big one is an interesting one in Gazzy Zardes, the star that is rising in LA Galaxy right now. American, and someone noticed a thing or two about soccer or football, and they feel that that kind of experience that Zardes has will be invaluable to Gregg Popovich's kind of learning that he has to do. Although a kind of veteran like Gregg Popovich, in a lot of cases, in training, in kind of nurturing players and such, he even did such with Kawhi Leonard. He could attest to Gregg Popovich's nurturance of young players. And it's probably going to really benefit Manchester United here if they rebuild from the bottom down. David De Gea has saved it, and it has just gone wide. That could have ended up anywhere. It came off Jones. David De Gea, who probably knew nothing about that, just about put it out. West Ham looking a little threatening right now. The defence is holding firm. So let's actually get to the action on the pitch. Now all the pre-season has been kind of talked about a little bit, and it's headed away by Axel Tuanzebe. Here's Romelu Lukaku, new signing. Martial, he's up front with Martial. Today Lukaku, he's going to need a strike partner. He can't do it all by himself, and I think this squad is actually set up to hit you on the break and hurt you with pace, probably apart from Daley Blind and Herrera, as they're not really the pacey players, but Wilfried Zaha definitely is. And this is Jesse Lingard. And Lukaku even has got pace for his size. It's greatly taken by Wilfried Zaha. And the conditions just aren't helping Manchester United with that passing at the moment. Conceding. Greatly taken there by Zaha. Plays it to Blind. Lofty ball, Martial has got there. He's got ahead of his man. Martial with the cross into towards Lukaku. And that was wonderful play that started from Daley Blind. Well, Pogba is missing the mark. Why is that kind of come up? With Paul Pogba, it's more the influence he has on the pitch rather than scoring goals. It's a really odd stat that keeps popping up during the game for some reason. Lukaku headed away. And the referee has given West Ham the free kick. I guess it was handball. Well, Manchester United have not been the only ones in the news, as Poveda is rumoured to be on his way to Liverpool to play under Johan Klopp from Atletico Bilbao. So, an interesting one there. Obviously, there's been Arsenal as well, the signing of Alexander Lacazette. And they're even interested in Raheem Mahrez from Leicester. So with Leicester in an absolute collapse as they are at the moment, as Lukaku has gone down, and he does appear hurt. And oh my goodness me, that's not what Gregg Popovich wants. Lukaku's not getting up, and we could have a problem here Romelu Lukaku's gone down, and oh my. Oh, Romelu Lukaku, big miss for Manchester United. If that is as bad as it looks, it does look like it is a bit of a crunching tackle. I suppose the one positive in all this is that Marcus Rashford has come on, and we all know his rise to prominence. And it's a drop ball, and Joe Hart's going to gather it. Well, if you want a man to score, Marcus Rashford is your man, and here he is already. And Rashford straight onto the ball and straight on with a shot. Joe Hart, good save. But Manchester United now have to wonder how long Romelu Lukaku is going to be out. And obviously, as we were talking about earlier, Manchester United already have a plethora of injuries with Aaron Hemwood, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Marcus Rojo all on the injury list. And now Lukaku is added to it in the first game of the season. Headed in by Pogba, but nothing doing there. Jesse Lingard has found Rashford. That is the end of the first half. Well, Gregg Popovich will be happy with the scoreline, but not happy with this scenario here. He's lost his star striker, Wilfried Zaha, rather, has been rather ineffective. He's not had much of the ball at all. But, well, it's been in the story. They've been in the stories all season. And now Manchester United, whilst kicking the ball around this time, they're in the news again. And it's bad news in terms of Romelu Lukaku's injury. We'll wait for his sort of diagnostics there. But that's not what Gregg Popovich is needed. But he's earning a point in his first ever football match. And that is a positive, I guess. And like we said, Marcus Rashford can give you a goal whenever he is in the correct position to do so. So Manchester United, you think, will score at some point, but you never know. At the break, though, it's 0-0. Well, welcome to the second half, and stories always seem to come in when you're Manchester United. It's 0-0 in the football match today on the pitch, but in unwelcoming news, Romelu Lukaku has suffered an injury whilst playing earlier, right at the end of the first half. So we'll wait for his diagnostics on that, and we'll give you news as soon as we get it, of course. Hernandez, and he's tackled by Ortwanzebe, and they get the ball back. And Lingard has over it and hits it away. Here's Antonio. Paletta. I'll have to focus on the action on the pitch now. Antonio. The ball is ping-ponging around. The conditions are not helping Manchester United right now. They're struggling in them. Passes have been rather wayward at times. And that could have fallen to Rashford. I don't think Zabaleta really knew much about it either. The conditions are really making for some very tricky playing conditions in a way. Well, obviously, I suppose. Rashford. Wilfried Zaha. And that is proof of the problems that Manchester United are having on this pitch, but Herrera did brilliantly to get the ball back. Pogba. Zaha kind of gets a touch on it. It's to Fonte for West Ham. And Joe Hart clears it away. Antonio. Hernandez. Obiang. Look at the space Obiang has to put that in towards Hernandez. There, a good save, as usual. Hashtag Dave Saves is in effect again here. Pogba. Good touch on there by Rashford. Zaha can't keep it in. David Moore is going into a very early change, 10 minutes into the second half, as Umar has come on for Antonio. So that's a very early change for David Moyes. You know, if Antonio's been struggling, we haven't really seen much of him. Well, next for Manchester United will be Swansea at the Liberty Stadium, who lost their manager Claude Puel to Leicester City recently. That was after letting go of Craig Shakespeare. It's all been all stories of the pre-season. Everything has changed. It's a new Premier League season and all new everywhere else in the world of it. Herrera, Marcus Rashford, Martial, and we get to see these two up front. Rashford and Martial. It's the kind of pairing that everyone has wanted to see. There's David Moyes, and what can he do? As his former club today didn't really go all his way at Sunderland. They got relegated. Rashford, he doesn't go down and make a meal of it. Well played. Manchester United throw. Rashford, wonderfully played. Pogba in the box. And Fonte clears it for another throw. The other side. West Ham just cannot keep the ball at the moment. And Manchester United can make something of this. And will score. The ball is going to roll, and that came off Pogba, unfortunately for him. And this time there was some luck in getting the ball. Here's Lanzini and here's an Artemich. Tackled by Bailly. It's been good defensive display by United to a degree. The passing has been their problem. West Ham go to St Mary's to take on Southampton next. And the draw for the Carabao Cup has Manchester United involved with Leeds. And that'll be after the game at Swansea. The holders Manchester United up against a former fierce rival in Leeds United. And one thing Gregg Popovich has to contend with as well is that Manchester United return to the Champions League. So Gregg has got a busy first season to kind of negotiate through. And we all know one of Gregg's kind of traits, as it were, with his San Antonio Spurs teams was he would rest them before the NBA playoffs. You can't really do that with Manchester United in football. It's very different. It's going to be another thing Gregg's going to have to kind of adapt to. Rashford picks it up, and Marcus Rashford has made his impact immediately. Marcus Rashford makes it 1-0, and there's no surprise about that whatsoever. And we all knew that Marcus Rashford were going to get you goals. That was the one positive, as you said, when Robert Lukaku went off. But, well, Marcus Rashford in the West Ham defence just falling asleep on him, really. A good bit of footwork and a great goal by Marcus Rashford. Martial clearly getting out of the way and wanting nothing to do with that. And Marcus Rashford opens the account for the season, and the first goal under Gregg Popovich in a competitive match, in any case, is scored by none other than Marcus Rashford. Manchester United 1, West Ham 0. Well, it's probably no surprise at all that Marcus Rashford has scored once again. And even with if Lukaku is out for an extended period of time, Gregg will have nothing to worry about if Marcus Rashford keeps banging them in like that. Absolutely just sensational, Marcus Rashford again. Here he is. Oh, it's wonderful. Marcus Rashford. Oh, just absolutely wonderful. He's brilliant. And Obiang will go off for Mark Noble. David Moyes is behind against Manchester United again. Pogba with the resulting corner. Oh, and free header for Bailly, and it wasn't really anywhere near the goal, but Joe Hart had to make sure anyway. And handball given against United, is that? And I think he's given the free kick to United, actually. He certainly has. I'm not really liking how I think it's Phil Jones up there. He's quite far forward. No, there's Jones, actually. Pogba, he's got to get back. Rashford played in Martial, wonderfully done. It was just wonderful for Manchester United. It's almost exactly how Gregg Popovich probably would have drew it up. The young player is just zipping around West Ham at the moment. And whatever Gregg's plan is, because I'm not sure he pretty much has one, to be honest. Now, this is a whole new culture for him more than anything else, but whatever he's done up in this game, it's working. Pogba with the corner. Literally, they've been electric this second half. Lingard. Phil Jones. Just wanted to get rid of the ball, I guess. But West Ham just aren't zippy enough with the ball, and obviously the conditions might kind of hurt them in that regard as well. As Mark Noble, he's played a delightful ball, and Artemich is all on his own, but he's going to have to wait for support to catch up with it. I think it's Hernandez that was there, and he's put it over the bar. Well, you can't really blame him, to be honest. Hernandez, well, he probably should have tried to work out something better there, Javier Hernandez. Normally, he's clinical in front of goal, and it left fans to question why Javier Hernandez was not starting as much as people would have liked. But he was let go of eventually to Real Madrid. It was on loan at one point. And I think he signed a permanent deal with them, and now he's back at West Ham in the Premier League. And Zaha clears it away. And Gregg Popovich, what must he be thinking? You know, he's had almost a dream start, to be honest. This second half has been all United to a degree. Coyote. Hernandez. Lanzini. Away by it was Jones again. Jones has been great the second half to some degree, although he has been called out of position a couple of times, but he was able to get back earlier. There's Martial bursting into the box. Martial off the post. And cleared away by Noble. Manchester United all attacking the second half. It's just all working out for Gregg Popovich right now, but there's going to be another 37 games to play yet. And obviously the games of the Champions League and the Carabao Cup, that's a clear foul, but Manchester United had the ball anyway. We didn't really signal advantage either, so I don't think he was planning on giving anything. Although the conditions can make things look worse than they actually are, I suppose. Now, what's Tonzebe going to do against Hernandez here? He's going to keep with him somewhat, and Lanzini's put it over the bar as well. Well, Tonzebe, he did okay. Jones was pressuring just enough. David De Gea was probably nowhere. And the conditions have paid brewing for West Ham again. De Gea with the goal kick. Noble. Coyote. You can feel West Ham getting this game better now. Here's Umar. And straight to Gea. And West Ham are getting this game a little bit now with 8 minutes to play. And there's a Manchester United substitution. And it's Jesse Lingard making way for Henrik Mkhitaryan. So Gregg Popovich looking to freshen things up. He's only got 2 available now, however. He's got 1 now. Obviously with good Lukaku during the first half. Out to David De Gea, who punches it clear. Fonte. And then by Hernandez, and he's over the bar again. And West Ham are going to rue his chances at some point, and it's not a bad attempt by Hernandez, to be fair to him. Fonte heads it forward. As does Umar. Now it's ended up with Hernandez. And Artemich, who's been largely ineffective in this game so far. Herrera trying to find Blind, and I think it's Umar that's headed it forward now. Here's Hernandez, who's put over the bar again, and Hernandez is feeling it, but he's not on target yet. And oh, that could have gone anywhere. David De Gea absolutely bamboozled by that one. I could blame him. That is another advantage for Gregg Popovich. He has the best goalkeeper in the world, arguably at the moment as well, on board. Zaha whips the ball in towards, I think it was Pogba. Lynn with a wayward pass, giving it to West Ham quite literally. 3 minutes to go. Zebe headers it forward. Martial. Martial feeling he was fouled. He says no. Here is going to get there. Martial, that's a great looking header, but is that against West Ham? No, it's against Rashford. It's a West Ham free kick. That's surprising. I think it was more of a clash of players and play could have gone on, but just did not. Just moving the free kick, and Berlin completely miscued it. 4 minutes of added on time. West Ham come forward again. Headed out by Bailly. Only as far as West Ham again. Here comes Noble. And Zini. Here come West Ham again. All the way by Bailly again. It's Wood back in under difficult circumstances, but Bailly is there again. And Zini. And there's Jones out for a corner. And Joe Hart is coming forward for the corner. Martinovic will take it, and there is Joe Hart. Of all people, it's in towards Joe Hart, and David De Gea has just kept that from going over. And he just hoots it clear. He wants the whistle to fly rather than finding a teammate to kind of catch Joe Hart out. West Ham have had a lot more of the ball late in the second half. And that is the full-time whistle. And Gregg Popovich's era has started perfectly despite the injury to Romelu Lukaku. But when you have Marcus Rashford on your team, you can be always guaranteed a goal, and that's exactly what happened. And Manchester United having the most perfect start to a brand new era in which the expectations are lowered. And it is an era of stability, but it couldn't have started any better. Marcus Rashford coming on as a sub and making the instant impact you expected him to. Manchester United take all 3 points for Gregg Popovich today. United 1, West Ham 0. The games coinciding with today's match, Newcastle United and Spurs ended in a 1-1 draw, where there was a shock at Victoria Road as Watford beat Liverpool by 2-1. So that means the table now looks like this. Chelsea, Leicester, Watford, West Brom and the 2 Manchester clubs are all on 3 points. But Chelsea have it on goal difference. Actually a different stat, as the goal difference is the same. But Chelsea, the champions, do lead at the top of the table. A point goes to Crystal Palace, to Huddersfield, who start their campaign in the best way with a point. Newcastle also as well. Southampton, Spurs, Swansea, Everton and Stoke all on a point, and all on 0 of course. Bournemouth, Liverpool, Brighton, West Ham, Arsenal and Burnley, meaning Arsenal start the season in 19th. No need to worry yet though, there's still another 37 games left. And an update on Romelu Lukaku later in the week reveals that he will be out for 3 months with a broken ankle. But as we said, Marcus Rashford will guarantee goals despite that. But Romelu will be a huge miss to Manchester United for 3 months, adding to the woes, of course, of Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Marcus Rojo with long-term injuries. And Aaron Hemwood still out with a month with that toe injury, of course.